Do you want to live more sustainably but aren't sure where to start or how it fits in with your everyday living? The ReNewy Living Podcast simplifies sustainability so you can feel confident to take small, meaningful actions that fit into your lifestyle. Based on the lands of the Awabakal and Worimi people in Newcastle, Australia, you'll learn how to live lighter on our planet through practical ideas, stories from like-minded people, and examples of businesses doing great things. With an open heart and mind, join me, Marty Lee, as we explore how to consume less, build stronger community connections, and thrive in your neighbourhood, wherever you call home. Welcome to the ReNewy Living Podcast. Hello, I'm Marty Lee, and welcome to the ReNewy Living Podcast. What's the first thing that comes to mind when I say the word activist? It's a word that can stir up a lot of feelings, but at its heart, it's simply about standing up for what you believe in and doing something about it. In this episode, I'd love you to meet Michelle Dado-Millynn, a Dungog-based film producer whose work shines a light on people doing what they believe in most. Michelle's documentary, The Power of Activism, follows the journeys of 6 gutsy female activists working toward social and environmental change. But it's more than just a film about women taking action. It's a film that puts a dollar value on the work they're doing, reframing their efforts as powerful and measurable. This conversation is about what activism can look like for all of us, how it exists on a continuum, and how this film can be the impetus for grassroots change in your community. G'day, Michelle.
Hey.
It's really lovely to be here in Dungog. It's a bit of a hop, skip and a jump away from Newcastle, but it's certainly got a very different vibe about it. Your film, The Power of Activism, has been out for a while. Tell us briefly about that film, and was there a moment for you or a feeling that made you realise that this was actually the story you needed to tell?
It's been a passion project for 10 plus years, really probably feels like all my life, just in terms of my passion for nature, my love of animals and the environment, and just I've always felt incredibly connected to it. So as climate change and all the issues became more and more apparent, and my awareness of what was going on through my volunteer work and my advocacy and my involvement in various conservation foundations, I was more and more aware of what was going on. So I wanted to do something and felt compelled to, with my skills and my passion, to what can I do to make a difference? How can I help to switch people on?
And you were able to do that because for your entire working life, you've been involved in visual storytelling. So you've combined your visual storytelling very beautifully with the film and your passion project as well.
So I've been a production designer for 30 plus years. I'm a NIDA graduate, and I love the impact of storytelling through the arts and entertainment industry. It's a very powerful medium, and I just knew that was the way to take my passion, is to my love of nature and animals and the awareness of all the issues, and all under the umbrella of climate change. Because I don't think people necessarily understand how cumulative all the issues are to where we are now, to get us to where we are now with the climate change crisis.
Michelle, what was the driving force behind wanting to make this movie, The Power of Activism?
The reason I was so driven to do something is because of the damage that we humans have caused to the most precious natural world that all life on Earth shares. Mass-scale environmental destruction, the exploitation of our fellow animal species and their natural habitats, air, water, soil pollution, industrial-scale factory farming, overfishing, invasive species, introduction, and so on. And this subsequent cumulative human impact has directly led to the climate crisis that we're in. And the balance is out. The natural order of things has been decimated by human disconnection, division, and exploitation. And that's driven by money, power, status, greed, cruelty, and abuse. And the worst of humanity is in a fight with the best of it. I wanted to join the fight and help put the balance back. We're one species of an estimated 8.7 million that live on Earth, and our one species has single-handedly put that balance out. The health and well-being of people and our planet's rich biodiversity of life depends on us putting the balance back and fixing the problems we've caused.
I can really see why you wanted to make this film. It is so complex, and this is your way of providing some kind of solution or highlighting what can be done.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it's my deep connection to nature that I've felt since I was a child. First Indigenous peoples, they've lived in harmony with the natural world for tens of thousands of years. And in 200 years, modern day humans have created the climate crisis we're now in. It's a fact. We've got to listen to and respect the natural order of things and come together for the solutions. A healthy natural environment equals a healthy economy. The natural world is not just nice to have, it's literally our life support system, and we're all connected in its intricate web of life.
So you've pulled all your skills and your knowledge together. Do you believe that you've met your mission?
If we look at that mission statement, what was our mantra all along, the director and I, Steve Pazvolsky, who my co-collaborator and just beautiful director, lovely man. How do we switch people on, especially those that aren't listening? I had gathered this amazing group of young activists, young Australians together. I wanted to cover all the issues, and then we knew that we wanted very much to be about positive and about solutions and working on the front line with the other side together to find a way forward. That's the way to make change happen. So together with that, we knew we wanted to have a point of difference, because as wonderful as so many documentaries, environmental documentaries are, they can leave you feeling very overwhelmed and very, what can I possibly do?
I would agree with that. I've seen quite a few where I've walked out of the theatre feeling absolutely devastated.
Yeah, and you feel depressed. It pushes you back into a little hole of like, oh, it's all too hard. We wanted to leave our audience feeling the opposite. We wanted people to feel inspired, empowered, positive, wanting to get involved, switched on. A lot of the environmental docos too, you're preaching to the converted. We were very much about talking to those that aren't listening. How do we talk to those people that aren't switched on to it? So money talks. Steve just said, why don't we try and get an actuary in to get that dollar value? Kirsten, who came on at the last moment, what was fantastic about her is her passion, because this hasn't been done for the environment before. She had actually just come off the COVID response and been recommended indirectly through 2 other people. We got her at the last moment. She ended up being perfect, and her secret passion is the environment. What's interesting is the figures we reach are staggering, but they're only the tip of the iceberg, because an actuary can only put the figures together based on existing studies and data, peer-reviewed, and reports. And there's a lot of studies that haven't been done on any of these things. Like, how do you put a dollar value on Indigenous culture? How do you put a dollar value on biodiversity loss?
From making the film, what did you learn that you didn't already know about when it comes to activism or dollar value? Activism shows in very many different ways. Some might feel that they're not an activist, that perhaps they're an advocate instead, but they're still an activist of a sort. It just shows very differently.
I consider myself both. I'm just very active. Obviously, I have been in my local community, and as a result, I couldn't have made this film without the work I've done in my local community. But I'm also an advocate because, I'm always wanting to talk about it, happy to be a spokesperson, because I just have that connection. And I've always had it. We all have it as kids. I think we just lose it. We forget that we're part of nature. We're not separate to it. We're part of it. We come from it. We go back to it. And we forget that. We humans tend to take ourselves out and think that we're superior. We are an apex predator, for sure, but we're part of a system, not separate to it.
When you just talked about apex predator, it made me think of one of the women in your film. There's 6 women in your film, but everyone relates or resonates with something a bit differently. And the 2 stories that resonated with me the most was the one about boomerang bags, but also the one about the sharks. And that had a big impact on me, understanding what is the problem here. I didn't even realise that that was a problem.
Now, when you take an apex predator out of the structure, then other things increase. And when you disrupt that and take out the apex predator, who keeps everything in line, the figures are staggering in terms of how many sharks for the shark fin soup trade, which is just, it's just mind-boggling. And then that biodiversity impact that has on the health and well-being of the oceans. And the oceans are the lungs of the earth. Madison talks to this as well, even though she's a fan of the film, but Jaws got everyone scared to death of sharks. Sharks aren't interested in us. They take a bite of us, let go, and of course, sometimes that can be fatal. But on average, 12 shark attacks a year kill people. We kill 100 million sharks a year for their fins.
Yeah, that's
to put in
absolutely
soup.
Horrendous.
So Maddie is passionate. She has a great love of sharks. She swims with sharks, has done since she was a young girl. She's never been bitten. She understands them. So she has dedicated her life to saving them and to raising awareness. When people say to me, what can I possibly do? I feel so overwhelmed and depressed, and I just don't know where to even start. And I was there, even though I was in that place. I get it, because I was like, I just have to do something, because doing nothing feels awful. When you're so aware, you can't not do something. So once I got going with this, I started to feel not only inspired by all these other people and more aware of all the great things that are going on, because you're part of a team. When you're in the conservation space, that's how I found all these amazing young people. And it's because I was aware of who was doing what. And I saw this film that Madison was in. I think it was her earliest film, actually, Shark Girl. I just happened to watch it. It was on the ABC. And a light bulb moment for me, because there's this young woman passionate about her cause and just so powerful and so inspiring and so wanting to find a solution. And I thought, I need to meet her. And I hadn't worked out what the concept of the film would be, but she was my light bulb moment. And so we literally met, like I literally cold called her, and I'm in Dungog. She was in Taree at that point, and we met halfway and had a coffee, and the rest is history. Madison put me on to Alice, who is a marine scientist and researcher and educator and wildlife guide. And I just thought she's amazing. They're all amazing. But she very much talks across all of it in terms of the big picture. Thus, the team started to form. I knew I wanted someone from the climate strike movement, because that was so predominant, young voice, and Doha was a standout when we researched who all the leaders were. Look at her. She's amazing. Alice had seen Ella speak up in Byron, where a few of them are based, and she was amazing and had gone to one of her gatherings. And I wanted to include Indigenous culture and connecting to country and connecting to community. Community is a very big through line in the film, health and well-being. And then Jordan Boomerang Bags, and there we have the team, you know.
So interestingly, you've got 6 women activists in your film. Why that choice?
We didn't set out to just have women, but once we were looking at who was leading and dedicating their lives to these causes, it is by and large women. And you can see in the film there's a lot of men in the film as well. Like Madison is working with fishermen. They're all the men. So she's working together with all these men. And so basically it's an interesting conversation, because it comes up a lot. And we had a moment we said, should we have a guy in here? But when we were doing all the research and looking at who were standouts, this was the team. And we didn't think we should just put a guy in for the sake of having a guy. And what's wrong with having 6 young women as leaders inspire boys and girls, men and women? And it's interesting, in Indigenous culture, there is Ella would talk about this, in that there is a calling for the female in terms of Mother Earth and that emotional connection and that care, and the world is crying out for that. And it's not to say there's not amazing young men out there doing amazing things, because there certainly are. Maybe this goes a bit to the traditional male-female roles where men feel they can't really do that full time, or, they've got to have a job and family, security, all these things. Steve often has made that comment of whether there is that inbuilt in a male, right? Whereas a female, and there is a calling at the moment, loud and very, very loud calling to get involved. And all the activists will tell you that. The ones that are leading and dedicating their lives, vast majority are women.
And I think what's important is that these voices within your film balance out your film and have different perspective. But it also, the way you've just spoken about it, shows the interconnectedness that we have, that when you start one thing, it then leads on to the next one, or that person knows someone else.
And that's the ripple effect, right? The butterfly effect, which we talk about in the film.
Are you just about to share your ripple effect story? Yeah, great.
I couldn't have made this film without the work I did in my own community. So when we moved here from Sydney 12 years ago, within a year or two, and I didn't know many people in the community, but I was very passionate about the plastic pollution problem. It's always been one of my big bugbears, right? So once I was aware of Jordan and Tanya's initiative, Boomerang Bags, and the whole beauty of that is that you can set it up yourself. Part of the toolkit that they create on their website is you can start a community. Anyone can. So I started up Boomerang Bags in Dungog. We were the 20th community to get underway, and we're coming up to our 10-year anniversary next year, 2016.
Yeah, that's a big effort.
It is.
Well
and
done.
We've made 8,000 bags, shopping bags, produce bags since we've started, and we've stopped plastic bag use in town. And I think when we started, I just reached out. I've had this asked to me a few times, how do you start something like that? You just ask. And so that's the same with filmmaking. 100%. Collaboration and communication are key. That's always our catchphrase. And it's the same with any of this community work. And so the team that we have, and it's always been a core group of 10, 12 that are always making the bags, part of the event. People come and go and add in and support, and we get donated fabric. Everyone's got fabric. As I talk about in the film, I just reached out throughout the whole community, to council, to the IGA, which is our local supermarket, and to the schools and to community groups. And with my background in film, I knew how powerful having events. And so I wanted to have it, be special, something for the communities. And then we ran this event at our beautiful local James Theatre, and I had Tim Minchin's film Canvas Bags, which is a great little film. And because I have a friend of mine as a friend of his, he let me play it. And so my contacts in the media, I made a little short film myself called Launching Boomerang Bags in Dungog. We made it. My son's a filmmaker. My husband's a producer. The filmmaking runs in the family. So with everybody's help and support, and of course everyone on the ground here, and I just spoke to people, and I think a lot of it's about it's not what you say, it's how you say it. So when you're positive and you have a solution, people just warmed and they were like, yeah, this is great. I love it. And council they just love that community were driving it. They would support it in any way they can. And that's really been how it's rolled out. But I have to say the ripple effects of that is that we did single-use plastic-free Dungog. A few years later, we got Cup Rescue going. And this was me reaching out to saying, we're doing this. Boomerang Bags already had a platform and a profile, and I was doing media and interviews. And because of my background in the entertainment and the arts industry, I had connections in the media, so I could get the ABC. I got the ABC out, and I was the spokesperson, but everybody was there with me. And I wasn't just me. I encouraged other people to be interviewed and talked to as well. And then we got nominated for a whole bunch of awards for Keep Australia Beautiful, and we won 6 of those, and I worked closely with council on that, but showcasing not only what we were doing, there was reforestation programs, regeneration programs, all these community groups. So there were probably 5 community groups when we started. It's now like there's 20, and there's all these events, and we've got the co-op. And the co-op is, a lot of Boomerang Bag members are part of this, and one of the Boomerang Bag members, it's her daughter and son-in-law that started the co-op. They came up to town and loved all this stuff that was going on. Businesses started opening that were in the environment. They love what was going on because it had a profile. And we were very, so ripple effect. It just keeps going.
Ripple effect. You know, after you're talking about that, I don't know if you can hear how much of a ripple effect that's actually had. It's now more like a big wave, but a wave over time.
Yeah.
And it really goes to show about the impact it can have in a community when one person drives that change, has the idea, and then can follow through with that idea as well, and what difference it can make to a community.
It's not one person, it's all of us. And at the heart of any change is community connection. So, we can all be passionate about different things, and that's actually what shows very much in this town is people are passionate about different things. Everyone cares. We're in such a beautiful environment. You always do have pushback from some, but I have to say, even some of the biggest pushback I got initially, I've had people come up to me, apologise and say, I can see.
They just needed to see the results.
I can see.
They couldn't imagine it, but they just needed to see what was going on.
Because for some people, change is challenging. This became a case study for me. How do I switch people on in my own community for the film? Because that's how do we switch people on globally with the film? And I did it locally in my own community. But again, I really stress it's not in isolation. Like you can see the team here, we have all these amazing events. The ripple effects are now a sculpture on the farm, the knitters picnic. I mean, I work in a number of businesses in town. We all cross over. Amazing arts and design. So many events that have been, there's a combination now of events that have been running over decades in this town, plus all the new ideas that are coming through. We have Pedal Fest. We have the Dungog show, which incorporates all sorts of things. That's traditional. But there's lots of new events that are coming up. We've just had a Thrive Festival, which is all about regeneration farming. And, so things that just keep building and building and building. And it's all the people. It's the people. And so I'm just part of a team. But yeah, there was a seed. I really do believe that we placed a little bit of a seed 10 years ago. Almost 10 years ago. And we 10 plus people all had feelers in different areas of the community. And all of us are very active. Like there's been, even just in Boomerang Bags, there was 2 of the team started up Bee Wrapped from the core team. They're still part of the core team, but they make beeswax wraps. We sell them in the co-op. And then another member started up Done Up, which is now another initiative which repairs and rewears and upcycles, recycles and makes all sorts of other things that Boomerang Bags doesn't, like, with the clothing. And this is a real big message of the film, and I say this to audiences all the time. When people say, where do I start? You start in your own community. You start in your home by doing what you can do. There are always things to do, whether it's recycle better, don't use plastic, use alternatives, compost, grow your own food, even if it's just a little kitchen garden with herbs and fresh food. And then you've got work, your workplace, talk to people, just ask the question. And, I will talk about the educational strategy with the schools, but the feedback I get is people had no idea that you just had to ask.
Yeah, really.
Just ask. And people will do.
What was stopping people from even just asking?
People are afraid. So sometimes it takes that leader to show that the asking gets results, and then they get courage.
We need our people around us to make living sustainably work. And in order to do that, to make it more achievable, we need to start with our local. And I really like how your story, it's your passion and it's that ripple effect of starting where you live as well, and how important that people are intertwined and connected with our environment. One can't dominate the other. We really need to work together to make change happen.
Yeah, 100%. And, the ultimate ripple effect in this is that's how I got the film made. And to be fair, I do think our town is very switched on now. I mean, there are people that, the older generations, shall we say, that find change and habits harder to break, but that's with anything. But, they're open, they're listening. I've seen it. I see people, like I said, come up and have chats and are always very friendly. And a lot of that is the older population. So much respect. And that's how I've always approached, with respect and integrity.
Really
and
good
positive
values to have, yeah.
And just showing that I care. Everyone gets there in their own way, or not. But, the majority do. I really believe that.
I'd like to take it back to the social impact. The film has a huge environmental impact, but each of the stories of the voices that you have on there also show the social impact that can happen on communities when environmentally things don't go so well. How can you bring that down to a grassroots education level of combining that environmental impact and a social impact more at an educative level?
One of the big aims with the film and feedback from audiences was that you've got to get this into schools. I formulated a project-based learning program where the film acts as an inspirator to high schools and then activates them to start their own initiative. So having that concept in mind, I worked with some education consultants and got this plan together, the strategy, if you like, pitched it to Documentary Australia and Shark Island Foundation, who are very keen to get documentaries into schools, especially high schools, as project-based learning and as an educational tool. So I got a grant to do that, which is fantastic. We're currently rolling that out where I have been over the last 18 months working with the 7 schools. So that was quite a process to find, again, case studies. So we've got these 7 schools around Australia, high schools, finding the right schools, the teachers, a range of schools, diverse backgrounds from all different states. So we're representative. And so they have and they're doing that now. Like I've literally just in the last few months been to the presentation. So over the last year, we've worked on that process has happened where they've watched the film. I am on Zoom with the amazing teachers. Can't do this without an amazing teacher on the ground.
You've got to have that buy-in from the teachers.
Got to have that buy-in. So finding that amazing, teachers are so time poor. So I am so amazingly grateful that these teachers have gone, because again, shared passion, want to do something. And the project-based learning model is a new-ish one. I mean, there are different programs around schools where they're embracing this more, but it's really getting the students it's student-led, and the students actually do something that is real life, real world. So this was something that these principals and teachers in these different schools embraced, and obviously they know there's 7 case studies because at the end of this, I'm building it into an educational resource for all high schools. But I am blown away by having been to half of these presentations now. And that's the great end result with this, having worked on Zoom over many, many months with the teachers, checking in, how's it going? Have you thought of this, that? And I can interject because I've done it in my own community. They're blown away by how people have said yes to supporting, whether it be council, whether it be land care, whether it be Bunnings, whether it be this, that, the other, whoever it is. Yes, we'd love to help you. What a great idea. This one school in WA that has gone to the mining company that destroyed the habitat of the black cockatoo they've gone to them and said, we'd love to build a wildlife corridor, plant back all the trees that were gone. Can you please help us? And they said yes. So they've gone to the other side, the problem, and said, let's together build back better.
It's such an empowering way to do it. As a former teacher for 20 years, that project-led approach means that everyone delves deeper into that problem. And if they didn't have that film or that particular mentoring from you, perhaps their projects might not have come off the ground. Or it's at least given them confidence to then go forward from their teenage life onwards to go, well, this had an impact on me and how can I actually make a difference in my community? And I love how you've brought your own experience and your own passion into helping other school children, not only through the power of your film, but back into the communities as well.
Yeah.
Absolute collaborative approach.
Thank you. It's having the kids come up to me and teachers, say that they've never seen their kids, the students, so passionate about something because they're actually doing something. And there is a big, kids today, teenagers, it's a tough time at the best of times, but teenagers in this social media climate, there's a lot of bad influences out there, right? So it's a tough time. Health and wellbeing is a struggle at the best of times for teenagers, but they've got added challenges. So what I love about our film too is that these are amazing role models for our young people, and to see them, these young Australians who they can relate to, who are positive, who, they're natural. They don't have makeup on. They're not, loads of makeup on. They're not all about body image. They're just real, barefoot, out there, doing stuff, smart, powerful, community, nature-driven, and wanting to make a difference. So the students, the hugs I've had, the tears I've shared, the parents and teachers that have said to me that student, until this project, had been in the corner mute. There's a lot of mental health problems some of these kids are suffering. So getting back to nature is the solution for our health and well-being, for the environment's health and well-being, and for the economy's health and well-being. It is all connected, one and the same.
Yeah, Michelle, we have talked about a huge amount of information, and throughout the whole time, your passion just comes through, your storytelling just comes through. And let's wrap up the conversation with, where can you see the film? Because this film has sparked so many ripple effects and has been the impetus for so many things. It's really important that after you've listened to our conversation, that people know where to actually watch the film.
Okay. We have partnered with FanForce Films. So you can go to their website. It's fan-force.com. And you go to films and you'll see The Power of Activism. And then you can host your own screening anytime. The way FanForce works is it's community-owned, community-driven, fan-forced, right? So we have it there as a platform because we're at this stage at the moment too where we're really encouraging people to host a screening. It doesn't cost you anything because there's no risk. We have all the how-to in the website when you go to that tab, host a screening, how to host a screening. You just need to reach a minimum number of tickets to cover costs. And I'm always available for a Q&A, always happy to talk about the film. And
so we'll put all your details in the show notes so that when people can listen to this episode, they know exactly how to contact you and what's right for them.
Yeah. So
you
you can go through the website at any time, powerofactivism.com. We are available on Beamer Films, but this, like you say, that'll all be there. SBS is our broadcaster through till the end of 2026. But you can always just reach out to me through the website where it says contact and send me an email, and I can give you the updated current best way to see the film.
Yeah, thank you so much for that, Michelle. And thank you so much for your time today. I mean, you've just given so much insight, and it is a really powerful film. And I like how this film has then become the reason for us having this conversation.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
Thank you so much for tuning in to this episode of the ReNewy Living Podcast. I hope you're feeling more confident about taking a localised and actionable approach to living sustainably. If this episode has inspired you to take simple action, please follow the ReNewy Living Podcast so you can catch every episode. We'd love it if you could share this episode with your friends. It's a great way to spread the word and help more people join the conversation about living sustainably. You can even send me an email with the episode that really made it for you. Hearing your positive actions for change helps me understand how these stories work within our shared communities. Head over to my website, renewyliving.com.au, for the show notes and blog posts from this episode. I look forward to sharing more stories from the people of Newcastle as we delve into our community's diverse social and environmental practices for positive planetary change from a localised perspective.